George Washington was our first president. Some would say our best. I would say maybe our wisest. I'll prove that today. At the end of his second term, he wrote a letter to Congress as well as to the American people. 30-page, handwritten letter. He first announced that he was not going to serve or run for a third term. He didn't want to be, a dynasty or a monarchy. It was time for someone else to lead. But then he spent the rest of his letter talking about the importance of staying as one, being unified in this country. I mean, at that time, we were still very, very young, and you had all these different people and colonies, states, religions, different views on everything. And he wanted us to realize that unity in the midst of all of that has to take precedence. And then he gave the number one threat to unity of their country. And you won't believe what it was. And I used the phrase that he used. Political parties. I kid you not. Let me quote to you from his letter what he said about political parties. Quote, they agitate the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms. They kindle the animosity of one part against another. They foment occasionally riot and insurrection. And they open the door to foreign influence and corruption, which finds a facilitated access to the government itself through the channels of party passions, end quote. That's incredible. You may want to rewind and listen to that again. It's almost like he had a newspaper from 2019. It's almost like he knew what was going to happen. And the big threat to the unity of the country is political parties. And I hear the political parties today scream, one screams racism at the other, and the other screams socialism back across the aisle. But really, the issues aren't racism and socialism. The issue is power. And these political parties are willing to do anything for money and for power. I've often wondered why there is a Republican national headquarters office and a Democratic national headquarters office in Washington, D.C. I don't think they're sitting around planning how to help out the American people. They're figuring out ways to get money and power. And it's such a shame to see young people run for office. And I think they have good hearts. They really want to help people when they start. But somehow they get in the machine. And all of a sudden, they're all about money and power. We need to hear George Washington. And in today, where there's such a divide, let's realize that the real reason for it are political parties. Now, I don't know what to do about that, but I do know the first step is to listen to George, and let's just be aware of what's happening before our eyes.